What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Progressive Gentleman Podcast. As always, we're your hosts. I'm Dan.
I'm Matt.
And we'd like to thank you for taking the time to nerd out about music with us. Yeah, that's right. We're inclusive now. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, it's been a while. We're sorry about that. Life is crazy. It's the holidays. But on top of that, you know, Matt's in school and working full time. I work full time and am married.
You work like double full time, so you make up for not having class by working more.
Yeah, you know, life gets crazy sometimes, but you know, we haven't forgotten about you guys. And you know, we have big plans for the new year, but we'll talk about that some other time. Right now, we just want to focus on wishing everybody kind of a happy holidays. It's a holiday special, huh? You know, TV shows can do it. Why can't we?
Yeah, Star Wars did it. We're gonna do it too.
Might not be as interesting, but you know, whatever. I personally am a fan of this time of year. I know, Matt, you're kind of a Grinch.
Yeah, that's kind of the consensus with my family. Is I'm the Grinch.
But you know, I mean, it's still a time of year where you know you get to be with friends and family, and you know, for some people that is the reason it sucks. For others, you know, it's the reason that you know you look forward to this time of year. But I mean, being a music podcast, we should kind of maybe focus a little bit on the music aspect. Do you have any favorite Christmas songs, Matt?
The one that I enjoy, and I think just my wife and I, like, we listen to a lot of the like the pop punk Christmas playlist, just because they're kind of like different. Like, I just get so sick of the like songs that they play at the mall and the grocery store.
You're not a Mariah Carey fan?
Absolutely not. But no, I just like the like non-traditional songs a little better, and the one in particular that I enjoy is Dragged Under's This Holiday. It's a very like crotchety Christmas song, but it has like a really cool riff, and like the lyrics are funny, and I don't know, it's like kind of a satirical Christmas song that I enjoy. That's probably my favorite one that I listen to frequently. My wife loves Christmas stuff, so like she plays the songs usually starting like the day after Thanksgiving, and
she's one of those, huh?
Yeah, and immediately the decorations go up, and then we cue the Christmas music. But thankfully, like, she puts on the punk stuff, so I listen to that, and I don't know, I'd go so far to say like I enjoy it, but I enjoy it more than I would if it was just like your typical like Jingle Bells stuff that you hear like at the grocery store. And that's probably just coming from working at a grocery store for like almost a decade.
Yeah, I mean, my wife, she used to work at Bath and Body Works, and she absolutely hates Mariah Carey because of how frequently that song plays in that store. So if that comes on, it like sends a chill up her spine. Like she's just like, I can't do this. And I agree, just because I don't like Mariah Carey. But yeah, I mean, for me, I grew up Catholic. I don't consider myself a religious person. I respect all beliefs, whatever you want to believe in, that's fine. I have no problem with any of that kind of stuff. For me personally.
Except for I wasn't raised Catholic, but
right. So that helps for you. For me,
same views.
I think some of my family members hearing me say that I'm not particularly religious growing up Catholic, that probably like sends chills up their spine the same way Mariah Carey does to my wife. But, but one aspect of it that I liked was, like Christmas Mass, the music. So we had like a very good choir at the church that I went to. And one of the members of the congregation that went to that church was an actress that was actually in Mr. Rogers. Excuse me, I forget her name. I wish I remembered. Probably should have looked that up, but I actually didn't know I was going to talk about this. And she has a beautiful singing voice, and she would sing like a cappella renditions of some of the Christmas songs with just like the church organ and stuff, and just like,
that's cool.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was probably the only time I actually enjoyed going to church. But songs like There's a song called "Mary Did You Know," which it's a very religious song. Obviously,
Yeah,
most Christmas
I know
songs
that one.
are, but like just the vibe of that song and the chord progressions and stuff, like it's a very beautiful song. And she did an a cappella rendition of it that has like always been something that sticks in the back of my head whenever I listen to Christmas music. So songs like that, "O Come Emmanuel," the chord progression in that is very cool too. And then obviously "Carol the Bells," give me an instrumental banger any day of the week.
Yeah,
And
that is one like that is one that you do hear that song like at the store and stuff, but there's a lot of awesome like metal and rock covers that
oh yeah,
make that song awesome to listen to.
and I mean like Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which isn't, I wouldn't consider them a metal outfit by any means, but like their Christmas music is very like, I feel like most metal fans can. I mean, some of it there's metal elements to it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I definitely
um,
think.
and so a lot of their Christmas stuff, I feel like, really, sort of geared towards like rock and metalheads.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that any metalhead could appreciate. But then also you get into metal bands like August Burns Red, who release like that's entire Christmas albums and their own Christmas songs like Sleddon Hill and stuff like that. Obviously that's actually specifically geared towards metalheads, and with them sort of coming up as kind of a like Christian metal band, I don't think they still align like that anymore, but I know like Messengers very much like can be considered kind of like a Christian metal album.
Yeah.
Uh and whenever I went and saw, you were at that show too, whenever we saw them with Darkest Hour and Unearth
Yeah.
maybe and Suicide
Yeah.
Silence.
Yep.
They like they used to pray around the drum kit before they like actually started playing. And
Yeah.
that was always an interesting thing. It's funny, and this is I tangent too damn much. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep doing it. That was one of the first metal shows that I ever went to, and my grandfather actually bought me tickets and a shirt. And he's very religious. I mean, most of my family, like again, Catholic. If you know, you know. But he actually wasn't. He wouldn't buy me the tickets until he read lyrics, and good thing he didn't look at any of the other bands. But because I was specifically wanted to go for August Burns Red, and reading some of their lyrics, there's a lot of sort of like Christian undertones, and to the point where he bought me the tickets and bought me a shirt. So. That kind of goes to show that that's kind of where they align. And it makes sense that now they make Christmas albums too, because, whether your music still aligns with that message or not, I'm sure they still, have some sort of level of faith or whatever. So it makes sense that they're making Christmas records.
Yeah. I mean, I think like, because they're, I think it's like more thinly veiled, but I still feel like they do like kind of, they still have like positive, like Christian kind of messages, but it's like more veiled than it used to be. Like that used to be like their shtick was like, we are first and foremost like a Christian metal band, kind of.
Right.
And now they've like, they're more like just, we're a metal band who happen to have like positive.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, if it's a part of you as a person, then I'm sure it's going to leak into your like lyricism.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I mean, that's one of my favorite Christmas metal sort of mashups there.
Yeah.
And then not metal and more recent, band called Manchester Orchestra. They're kind of like in like the indie, maybe borderline emo at times, a little bit of prog elements. They're I forget, was it called like the Million Masks of God or the Million Hands of God or Millions? They released an album, I think it was last year, or maybe the year before. That was really good. Probably made my top 10 list if it was last year. I don't remember. Anyways,
I think that was last year.
yeah, it's a good record. Anyways, they released a Christmas record, which I also enjoy. It's a lot. It's very indie rock, Christmas renditions, but still
I'd
pretty
probably
decent.
enjoy that. I like
It's very
indie
chill.
rock stuff.
Yeah, very chill. And then the only other one I wanted to mention too, just because there was a time where I still do. I don't want to like say that I don't anymore. There was a time where I really loved Amon Amarth. And
Yeah,
I
you were
don't
just
remember.
telling me about this before.
I don't remember what year, but they released a song called Viking Christmas, and
I have to
it
check that song out. I didn't know
yeah.
that existed.
I tried to find it wasn't on Spotify. I did find it on YouTube, so it is on YouTube. Definitely go check that out if you like Amon Amarth. Those dudes they
That's
make
awesome.
awesome music, and it's just hilarious. I'll never forget I went to a show where it was literally just an evening with Amon Amarth. They just played two like hour and a half sets back to back, and it was an awesome, like, dudes just dressed as Vikings carrying like fake Thor hammers. Like, it was a
That's
very
fun.
interesting, and I think I was like maybe 16 at the time. I don't even remember, but
You're like, this is cool.
I was like, where am I? And just the dude's voice when he's like, hello, Pittsburgh. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. Where am I? But clearly Pittsburgh, but am I? And, but yeah, anyways, I love Christmas music for the most part. Obviously not as much the commercial stuff, but the Trans-Siberian Orchestra stuff, a lot of the just like a cappella or just just the vocal. Like John Legend has an amazing voice too. I'm not like, again, I'm a metal fan talking about John Legend, but like these people, Alicia Keys, people with like really good singing voices that do like very vocal forward renditions of Christmas songs. I also enjoy that too. So
Yeah, I'm like, so for me, it's kind of like I appreciate the skill and talent that they have, but just like hearing those like same songs over is just kind of like, okay, it gets boring. But there are like definitely exceptions to that. And just like we were talking about the kind of like metally stuff. And, since this is a heavy podcast, there was I found it after some digging. It's called Midnight Clear. It's I think it's a solid state published record, and it's like various artists. So, and I'm pretty certain they're all solid state bands. So it has August Burns Red, Flurries, and Joy to the World on it. But then it has For Today, Fit for a King, Wolves at the Gate, and some bands that I actually had never heard of until seeing them on this album, but Forevermore and The Ongoing Concept. But this album's actually like is pretty solid, and it comes on like whenever Colleen's playing her Christmas list that she has a mix of. It's just like, oh, it has a lot of the popular Christmas songs, and then one of these will pop up, and I'm like, oh, what is this? And like it just happened the other day, and it was actually the Forevermore. They have Silent Night that they cover, and it's like a metalcore version, which is pretty sick.
nice.
There's also Christopher Lee, the guy who played Sauron.
Yeah.
He has some Christmas songs too. He has Jingle Hell.
Oh, jeez.
It's pretty funny.
For some reason, I do think I remember. Like, is he in a band, or is he just like he just does that and he's just because I do remember reading something about how he's like kind of a metalhead.
Yeah, so he has his own like project. It's just under Christopher Lee.
Oh, okay.
But he may also be in a band too. But yeah, he has two heavy metal Christmas albums. It's a heavy metal Christmas and a heavy metal Christmas 2, TOO. And it's like literally just him sitting in a chair holding like it looks like a Gibson Explorer kind of looking
Yeah.
guitar. I actually don't know what it is. It's kind of Flying V, but kind of Explorer. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, he's got Little Drummer Boy, Silent Night, Jingle Hell, um, and a
Interesting.
bunch of. I guess there's only 4 songs in total between the two, but
Still,
um,
that's nuts.
yeah, actually, I put on like a metal Christmas playlist like a couple years ago, and I was like, this sounds like Sauron. And I was like, why does it sound like him? And then I noticed it was Christopher Lee, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's the guy who plays Sauron. And then
Saruman.
Saruman,
Saruman.
yeah, not, I don't know why.
Just in case we have a
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings fanboy on here, I don't wanna get called out in
thank
the
you for
comments.
the correction. Yeah,
I'm just trying to protect you, man.
yeah, it's yeah, I meant Saruman. Uh,
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, I just met the 4 hobbits here a couple weeks ago. Elijah Wood, Dominic Monaghan, Sean Astin, and wow, why can't I figure out the other one's name?
did you say Elijah Wood?
I did.
Okay, I thought you did, but I was like,
Billy Boyd. Whew.
Oh.
And I did not look that up. I came up with it on my own. I just want to point that out. Anyways.
Can verify.
Just throwing that out there. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. That's too big of a tangent. But yeah, that's nuts. But yeah, there's all kinds of different, so many people, it's such a huge time of year and so many people celebrate, or even if you're not religious, a lot of people celebrate just as a season of giving and a season of being together and whatever. And none of these are like typically elements that metalheads talk about, like, oh, giving but I mean, hey, there's a lot of loving metalheads out there,
Yeah, I think there's honestly like the metalhead community is much more like welcoming and loving.
Just a bunch of big scary teddy bears.
Given credit for. I mean, the number of like heartwarming things you see like
that's
in
true.
Metal shows and stuff that like people do.
Oh, every time I see a dude on a wheelchair crowd surfing, I'm just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I love like, and I mean, just the like, people can make the argument with like mosh pits and stuff where it's like, oh, they're pushing each other, but like the sort of like code of conduct that if someone falls, like immediately things stop and you pick the person up, and it's like,
right,
we will leave no person behind kind of mentality.
Yeah, so I guess it's fitting then. It's fitting for sure.
Yeah, I think it's like. It's just wrapped in a like scary exterior that people look at it like, oh, metalheads are scary people. And then when you really like peel it back and you see like some of the song subject matters and like in that stuff, you realize like, oh, they're not really so scary.
Especially in like the modern hardcore scene.
Yeah.
It's either like fuck the system or like love each other. Like it's one of those two messages.
I guess if you like.
Or both.
I guess if you looked at like black metal lyrics, then maybe you would be like, "Oh, this is as scary as I thought." But
yeah, there's definitely not like a Watain Christmas album out there anywhere.
Or it's like "Burn Churches for Christmas" is like the name of the album.
Yeah,
or something. But
switching gears from the music, and just for a fun random topic that I'll throw out there, do you have a favorite Christmas or holiday movie?
It's probably a toss-up for me between Elf and Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation's a good one.
It's just like, I think the Christmas Vacation I lean slightly more to just because it kind of fits my like general, and also the Grinch, obviously, I can't.
Which one, the cartoon or Jim Carrey?
The Jim Carrey one.
Okay.
Honestly,
I was going to say, I went to I don't even know, was that a coffee shop? I was somewhere where like the tip jar was split in two, and it was like you had to like make your decision like which version of the Grinch is better, the cartoon or the Jim Carrey version.
Yeah.
And the Jim Carrey version was significantly losing.
Really?
Yeah, there was somebody put like a 20 in the cartoon one just to like be like this can't lose.
Wow.
I appreciate the classic cartoon version for sure. It's short and sweet. But yeah, I mean, I do like the Jim Carrey version a lot, so I probably would prefer that just because that's my preferred medium. I'm not a big like cartoon person, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be tough to pick one of those two for me. But for me, favorite Christmas movie, I kind of break it into like three, which is probably just makes sense for me since I always have to do everything like too much. I feel like from a classic perspective, it's hard to get better than A Christmas Story.
That is a good classic.
It does get kind of annoying that they play it every like over and over and over again for 24 hours or whatever on Christmas Day. And it's on like 6 channels and it's almost impossible to escape. Your options are either like football or A Christmas Story on Christmas. That's it. Which you should be with your family anyways, but still, that's all you got.
Well, it's usually like that's on in the background at the very least. And it's like every time you look over, it happens to be like the same scene.
Yeah, it's like are you living in like a loop right now? What is happening? Yeah. And then from a just a real stupid Christmas movie perspective, but also like it kind of grew on me. Have you ever seen the movie Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad?
Yeah, and they go to the mall to get the action figure.
That movie is like so bad it's good for me at this point.
I do remember liking that movie when I was younger. I honestly haven't watched it in probably at least 10 years.
Yeah, So shout out to that movie. That movie's hilarious.
That's a good deep cut there.
Yeah, it's like what's the Turbo Man? They gotta go get
That's
the Turbo
name.
Man
Yeah,
doll,
I couldn't think of.
and then he like ends up being Turbo Man by accident in like the parade or some shit. And he's got a jetpack. Like it's just so crazy. It's just ridiculous. And it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, so the acting is awful, but it's still funny.
What is your
That was
stance?
pre-Terminator, so
Yeah. What is your stance on Die Hard as a Christmas movie?
oh, you're gonna get me. Why do we have to be controversial here?
It doesn't have to be controversial, depending on your take.
What's the popular take? Is the
I honestly
popular
don't
take
know,
that it is a Christmas movie? See, like
It seems to be, but I just like I don't really buy into that. Like just because a movie happens to like occur during Christmas to me does not a Christmas movie make.
yeah. So like
It's kind of my take.
I had this conversation with somebody recently. It might have been Steph. No, it wouldn't have been Steph. Oh, so on a different note. A lot of people consider like the Harry Potter films like Christmas movies also because there's always like a Christmas section. Like they
Yeah.
always do something during Christmas in almost all of those films. So like I don't believe that. So I don't,
Yeah.
like, oh, just because Christmas happened during the movie doesn't make it a Christmas movie. So yeah, just because something's happening on Christmas in the film doesn't make it a Christmas film. Therefore, I guess my stance is that it's not a Christmas film. I'm
There
sorry.
you heard it from us,
I
definitively,
am
not
also
Christmas movie.
sorry if that's not the. It's probably not. I feel like so many people like fight to the death that it's a Christmas film. So
It just, I think to me, it also like another reason I have that stance is because there's so many people that they think that they're being like witty and edgy by saying that their favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard, and it's like you're not funny, you're not unique. Like there are enough people that say that. It's like, if that's your favorite movie, cool, fine, that's cool. Like it's a good movie, I enjoy it too.
yeah.
But to me, it's like there's like the message isn't like Christmassy. It's not like it just happens to occur in December. And
Yeah.
like you could change the time period and like it really wouldn't change the movie all that much. And like
Yeah.
that's my thing is like I don't consider it one, but like it's still a good movie. So I'm not trying to
Yeah.
like shit on Die
I'm
Hard.
not
or
shitting
anything.
on the film, just not necessarily agreeing that it's a Christmas movie. But
Yeah.
speaking of Christmas movies, this is the last one that I'll bring up. Have you ever watched the Christmas Chronicles on Netflix? It's like a
I've not.
Netflix original. It's got Kurt Russell. Is that his name?
Oh,
Kurt Russell?
my mom was actually telling me about that too. She said that it's super good.
It's really good, and there's two of them. There's a Christmas Chronicles and a Christmas Chronicles 2. I like both films. Those are probably some of the best like new because like they redo the same shit over and over again. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just filmography in general these days. But like it was nice to get sort of like a fresh like Christmas film, like a newer idea.
Yeah. Have you
And have
seen?
it actually be that good. I really like it. I would definitely recommend that if you're a Christmas movie fan.
I'll have to watch that. Have you watched I think it was Spirited, I think is the name. It's the Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, I
Will
did see
Ferrell
that
one.
with I have not watched it yet. That I've heard that's funny.
It's really good actually. Like
Yeah.
it kind of has that like meta like Deadpool type storytelling. So they'll like start a music number and the person's like, not this again. And and like try and cut it short. And like they'll have songs that just like abruptly end. But like the songs are pretty good. I mean, I don't think it's anywhere like near like The Greatest Showman or like
Right.
Hamilton or something like that. But it's catchy and it's fun and the story is like heartfelt but also funny. And it's like everybody like they remake Christmas Carol, like there's a million different versions
in every format. Like there's the
And-
Muppets one and like
Yeah.
the super dark one where it's like, wow, this is kind of creepy and borderline horror film. And there's
Yeah.
like
And this one, like, they do that, but they change it up enough that it doesn't feel like it feels like it's very loosely based on A Christmas Carol, not that it's like it is Christmas Carol. Like it starts off and you almost feel like it's gonna be like Santa Claus movie or something. Like it almost seems like it's in like Santa's workshop kind of deal.
Gotcha.
And they're like, trying to like turn people to not be Scrooges. And you kind of feel like this is like they're a corporation and they're like working a business and stuff. But then it's like, oh, now this is kind of like Christmas Carol, but oh wait, now there's this, and like it kind of changes up. And I definitely recommend it if you have. It's on Apple TV,
Yeah.
so you have to have like the Apple TV Plus thing,
which I personally do, so I'll definitely be checking that out.
I recommend it. It's good.
Steph actually saw it. We watched the preview. She's not a Will Ferrell fan.
What?
Yeah, she doesn't like his humor. She's more of like
God, I love Will Ferrell.
Yeah, she's more of like a Jerry Seinfeld type humor.
So she's like a more dry humor.
Yes,
type.
very much so.
Yeah.
Where she doesn't like the like slapstick comedy type thing that you get with like. She's not a big Jim Carrey fan either, and because he's kind of in a similar vein.
Yeah, he's
so
like
she
very
definitely
eccentric.
She definitely would have put her tip money in the cartoon one for sure. But yeah, she saw that, and I think just watching the preview, she's like, I'd watch it. So I think she would like it. Just based on the like some of the trailers that I've watched for it, I think she would like it. So we're definitely gonna watch it.
The new animated Grinch, I think it was Illumination.
Oh yeah, I do remember that coming out. That's actually pretty good too.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That came out last year, 2 years ago. It's relatively
something
recent.
like that. Yeah, it's pretty new. It actually has Keenan Thompson voices a character in it, which
Nice.
I thought was pretty awesome. I was like,
and isn't it Benedict Cumberbatch is the Grinch?
Yeah,
yeah, I do remember that.
I feel like it just. I think because of the Jim Carrey character, is like that's now the Grinch in my head.
Yeah.
So whenever
for a lot of people, that's the case.
Yeah, and so Benedict Cumberbatch is like very different, and like I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just like very different that it takes some getting used to.
Yeah,
but
I actually I liked
good.
it a lot. Yeah, I liked that a lot. We watched that. The year it came out, and then I think even the following year. We've not watched it. We watched like half of the new Christmas Story. Like it's like Christmas Story Christmas. Did you see that that's a thing?
No, I didn't.
The original kid that played Ralphie is back, and now he's a father with kids, and like he's like going back to his old house, and like we watched maybe the first 30 minutes of it because I only see my wife like 30 minutes a day, and we've not finished it yet. But the first 30 minutes seem pretty solid. But I'm looking forward to finishing that. So I don't have a full opinion, but that does exist. If you're a fan of the Christmas Story and you didn't know about that.
I'll have to check that out.
Maybe that'll give us some like a little bit of a breakup like during Christmas. Maybe they'll like play one and then the other and then one and then the other. So it's like
yeah. So you only see the same scene once every like 6 hours.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of every couple.
It's always the Black Bart scene whenever he's like all the robbers are in the yard or whatever, and he's like shooting his BB gun at them or whatever. That seems to always be the scene that I catch on TV whenever it's like on in the background. Because growing up, that was always on every TV in my grandma's house for Christmas Eve, and literally every time it was like all right, Black Bart, and I was like, oh my god, it's the same scene again.
I always get where he's getting like kicked down the slide.
Ho ho ho!
That's a scene that I like. It like haunts me. Every time I turn it on, it's like the first scene that's like during the day when I turn it on, I'm like, here it goes. This is going to be it all day long. I'm just going to see the red slide.
And Steph can't there's no such thing as too much A Christmas Story for her. That's my wife's name. Oh, everybody should know that by now if you listen to us. But
if you're just tuning into this podcast,
yeah,
this is probably not the episode to start with, but you're already in this far, so you might as well stick with it.
There's barely anything about music, let alone metal music, in this episode. So sorry. But yeah, I mean, she can't get enough of it. It has to be on, and she'll sit there and watch it like for 6 hours if she has to. Like that's definitely something that she looks forward to on Christmas. So I'll be watching that a lot this year.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't know. Should we keep tangenting? Should we switch gears a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the kind of the plan for the next few weeks if you want to
Yeah.
like go through that. And
Yeah, so coming up here probably next week. That's our goal. We're planning on recording this week for our album of the year podcast episode, which I know everybody typically looks forward to that. Last year's did really well, and we have a lot more listeners and followers this year. So I'm sure if you've not listened to that episode last year, basically what we do is, over the year, we've compiled a pretty significant list of records that were dropped that we listened to, enjoyed, or were on our radar. You can actually go and listen to an episode where we talked about sort of the albums we were looking forward to. I don't actually know exactly what the name of that episode is off the top of my head, but it is named pretty obviously. So if you go look at our catalog, there is an episode that dropped at the beginning of this year, 2022, where we talk about records we were looking forward to. So that'll kind of give you a little bit of an idea of maybe some of the ones we'll talk about. But obviously, this was a huge year for music. There's a lot of records that dropped. So basically, we take that and we each make a top 10 list. And this year, we're doing it a little bit different, where we actually combined our lists and like made it into one top 10 list. We did have a lot of differences. So it was so it's funny, actually, our number one is neither of our number ones. So, so it's interesting, but it's a list that we're actually happy with, and we're looking forward to talking about it.
yeah, we figured it was less confusing than talking about two separate lists and like people trying to, especially if you're like not looking at the Instagram page that we post to coincide with the episode.
Right.
If you just listen to the podcast, like it can be hard for audio listening to be like, okay, so it's his number 10 and his number 7, and so we just decided
Right.
we would make a definitive progressive gentleman top 10.
Yep, and I mean, I'm happy with how it turned out. We'll do a couple
too.
honorable mentions as well, but that's the next episode on our radar. So definitely keep an eye out for that. We're looking to drop it next Saturday. From when you're listening to this, or I guess if you're listening to this when it dropped. So right now this is gonna drop the Saturday of Christmas weekend. So the Saturday of New Year's weekend, our album of the year episode's gonna drop. And then the following week, we aim to drop a general transmission episode, which is going to mostly focus on just kind of like reviewing the year, talking about the different things that we did, the different goals we achieved, just sort of putting a bow on the year. And then maybe even talking a little bit about what we're planning for this coming year, 2023. So it'll just kind of give you like, here's a little bit of reminiscing on this past year. Here's what we're looking to accomplish with the next year. So definitely look out for that. And yeah, we have some potential band interviews lined up that we're looking to get scheduled and drop those episodes. And who knows how it's going to go, but we'll save the rest of the different things that we're looking to do in 2023 for that general transmission episode, because I don't want to just go into it here. But
we'll just give a little sneak peek behind the curtain for
exactly
the next couple weeks, because I know like with people traveling for the holiday, it's like I know for me, like I listen to a bunch of different podcasts, and this time of year is so crazy, and like with all the stuff going on, it's like you don't keep up with it, and then you like come back from the holiday and like, oh my god, how many podcasts do I have to catch up on? So just letting people know that it seems like that's everyone's favorite episode of ours is the album of the year. So kind of give everybody a little heads up.
It's my favorite episode to do, and
mine too.
And to prepare for. I enjoy just sort of going back and listening to all those records, and just it's sort of a walk down memory lane. And
it's like our own little time capsule for the year.
Exactly. Especially like the albums that drop early in the year that sometimes, you'll listen to one or two songs, but you've not gone back really and listened to that whole album since the beginning of the year. So it's cool to go back and do that. But yeah. And so looking forward to that dropping. And, speaking of Christmas, I'm just going to throw this out there too. So a lot of people, myself included, I do this almost every year, procrastinate for gifts and stuff. So we're just going to go ahead and do a shameless plug here. So we actually got a sponsor this year through Eargasm Earplugs, and this isn't something that we're just trying to push either because, I mean, we don't get anything out of this, but it's a product that we've been using for 4 years now. Myself personally has been using for 4 years now. And
I haven't been using
honestly,
them quite as long, but
right.
I've been using them for a couple as well because you told me about them
genuinely, like, there's not really anything else out there that has, I feel, protected my hearing as much as these have. I used to use the little foam, squeeze them, put them in your ears or whatever, and not only did I feel like I didn't really hear the bands that were playing as well, like it sounded kind of like muddied up. I would still take them out and have the ringing in my ears after the show. So it was like, what did I even do this for half the time? But my wife works in ENT, so she's always on top of me about like, you need to, protect your hearing or you're going to be deaf by the time you're 50. Especially with how loud I listen to music too. And, and just the shows that we go to are always so damn loud. I'm sure everybody listening to this, if you're a metalhead, you can relate. You leave a show, your ears are ringing for hours. You wake up in the morning, they might still be ringing.
you get that like cotton ball effect that like everyone seems like they're in another room when they're talking to you, even if they're right next to you, and you're like, what?
For sure. But it's a long story short. So Eargasm earplugs it's the only thing that I've found where I use it and I can actually still hear, like, it almost sounds like I just turned the volume down a little bit on the show, but like as far as like sound quality goes, it doesn't take anything away from the sound quality. And after a show, I take them out of my ears and my ears aren't ringing, and it's a beautiful thing. And I genuinely could not recommend this product enough. And so, for your favorite metalhead, even if it's not for Christmas, even if it's just whatever,
a New Year's gift.
Exactly, a New Year's gift. That's a thing, maybe, I don't know. They have all kinds of different types out there, different colors, we actually personally now we use the slides, which are pretty cool. They have both the rubber tips and then they also have the foam tips. So like you can adjust it to any ear size, and it has this little dial on it where you can actually change how much you're, how many decibels you're letting in, which is cool. It's almost it's almost like putting a volume control on real life, which is kind of nuts. But so those are really awesome. But then they have their like just standard Eargasm earplugs as well. They have ones called clicks where you can put different like gemstones and stuff. That's not personally my thing, but hey, if you're into like jazzing up your earplugs, that's an option.
Accessorize.
But if you go and you use the code Gentleman10, that's DJENTLEMEN 10, you'll actually get a 10% off discount. And yeah, I mean, they sell, if you just like the little rubber ones, they sell like higher fidelity ones of those as well. So if you're looking for like a cheaper option.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of different price ranges. Like
for sure,
the ones that we have, the slides, they're like higher level, more expensive, but they have more entry price, like ones if you want to try out, or if you're a fan of the foam plugs, like you can get those. But I do highly recommend the slides. They're definitely a game changer.
They're great, and I use their regular earplugs for a while, to the point where they come with this little carrying case, which is actually pretty nice, and it has a keychain, so you can always have them with you. And I've had my original ones for so long that my black keychain holder thing is now just like completely, the paint is
it's
gone
very battle
on
worn.
And but I mean, I swear by them. Honestly, I wouldn't try to like present a product to anybody else if I didn't fully believe in it, and I really genuinely do. So again, code Gentleman10. There's actually a link in our bio to our link tree, which will link you straight to their site, and it'll already apply the code for you, so you won't even have to actually enter it at checkout. But if you're just going to go to eargasm.com, at checkout, code Gentleman10, DJENTLEMEN 10. Couldn't recommend it enough. And one other thing that I wanted to mention, and this isn't like an ad type thing either, but we're going to be doing a giveaway soon. Maybe we'll announce it with this. I'm not 100% sure how we want to go about it, or like what the stipulations we want to make, because we're really close to 500 followers on Instagram, and I really want to hit that number. So maybe the stipulation will be once we hit 500 followers on Instagram, that's when we announce the winner. But we'll work that out here shortly. But the giveaway is going to be a signed copy of the Contortionist's Language album on CD. So it's a signed CD. The booklet is signed, not the plastic. So I prefer it that way. Who wants a signed piece of plastic?
Yeah, because the plastics get scratched, whereas like the booklet's in the case and it's protected. So like you can transfer it to another jewel case if the case gets destroyed or scratched or beat up or whatever.
Yep. So again, it's going to be a signed copy of Language on CD. The booklet is signed, and that's going to be the next giveaway. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll definitely have some more giveaways as the year goes on. That's something that we like to do. We like to stay engaged. We might actually have some Progressive Gentleman merch type stuff coming up soon that might be a part of those giveaways if anybody's interested.
Figure out the goddamn cricket.
Yeah, Matt's our merch guy. He's not doing a great... No, I'm just kidding. That's not his fault.
I'm about to punt this cricket out the window.
But
we
yeah,
designed the decals. I've got the stickers printed. The cricket just decides to cut them wrong.
Yeah,
so
we're
we'll
working through it. We're working through it. But again, these are things that we'll also mention in other episodes as we go. But we just want to like try to keep you guys informed. We know it's been a long time since we've kind of talked to you guys. So yeah, I think that's a wrap for this one. Keep an eye out for that album of the year playlist that's coming up soon, or not playlist, episode, but also we're working on a playlist too, but that's another thing. Anyways, keep an eye out for the new episodes dropping every Saturday for the next couple weeks. We're looking forward to being able to do that for you guys since it's been a while. And yeah, from Matt and myself, Merry Djentmas to everybody.
Merry Djentmas, everyone.
Have a good one, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thanks.